So the next thing I'll have to do is go and try the lowest gain on that amp and have a look at the digital max level of my DAC for those two channels, and see how much I can go before I'm getting near the ceiling, or whether it's a lost cause. There is a medium as well. Here, I'll turn it up full. So far, it's like butter. What else we got? Try something with drums, like louder drums. Gonna go and do that thing I said, check the gains, come back. Yeah, so I just ran this track as loud as I could reasonably want to hear it, and just comparing the peaks. So high mid peak got to minus 2.8, and the tweeter peak was at minus 7.3. So I could go back there and flick low gain, and then just chuck a lot more digital level at it. Yeah, so the right hand's not getting the same level, it's closer to me. So that was interesting. Almost double. So low gain, we've gone over by 0.48, and we're only at 3/4. We had to add 12 extra for that hardware setting, so maybe medium's can do it, but still high sounded pretty good. Just gonna try medium. Yeah, so going to have to go back to high gain on the amp. Just getting a few clips, especially when you get some recordings like this. Big band number. Very high transients in this tune. And that was with +6 there, and I actually dialed it up a bit here, so it's probably about 7, back to 8. Now one last thing, I'm using outputs 3 and 4 on the actual sound card. Outputs 1 and 2 actually have an extra gain stage in the DAC itself. So here it is here, plus 24 dBu versus high gain. So that could be a thing. At the moment they're on the 6-inch, and the 6-inch has got a spare 10 dB, so why they're on there 6 inches and not the tweeters, I do not know. So that's another thing I can swap. I'm so ronery. This is the temporary stitch together, stacks on. There's the empty spaces, and I haven't rigged up the 12-volt trigger yet, so I'm going to have to come out here every time and do this. So these were on when the AC turned off, but when the AC came on they were off again. But you know, that's just one more little 10-minute wiring job for me to do. I must say the tops on that track are just pure. There's a distance that can be felt, like an uninterrupted picture of that treble is compared to what I was hearing in the Class D Fosi V3 monos. You would still get this clarity and bite, but you wouldn't get this pureness. And now I'm thinking maybe I should try them on the high mids as well. And there's gain to be played with, but possible on a high mid, because you know it's got to keep up with the whole system. Because listening down here is fine, but I like listening up here. Incredible sound. You have to live with it for a few days, just on that tweeter, and then the problem being I'm going to put it on the high mid, and then I'm not going to hear it on the tweeter, so I'm sort of stuck there. But that's the way I do things. I keep putting them on, putting them back, putting them on, putting them back. Get together, let the good time roll. And I've seemed to have settled, because last night was my first test, and at night time I'm famous for adding too much treble, especially in a treble test. So now I've been backing off that level on the tweeter. So it was, what have we got here? -3, I had it up almost 0 last night. Keep it down here at -3 and a bit. See, here's what I'm hearing in this next piece. I'll just rewind. I used to hear this piece and I was listening for the dynamics and the transients and the solidness of the orchestration and the twinkles in the air and stuff like this, but these new amps bring out that space behind the twinkliness and the air. And it holds together the moments between the twinkles. You just get to hear that blanket of room the whole time. And as those louder violins start to dominate, they don't mask the pre-existing section that was playing underneath it. And you still hear the blackness of the instruments all playing at once. It's a hard feeling, and instead of your attention skipping between things, you then start to appreciate the layers of the things as they layer. So it's hard. I think as a more revealing set of amps, it sort of shows you what the limits of your other amps was. I always thought there might have been a slight graininess in my tweeter channel, but it's not the graininess so much, it's the lack of retrieval. So it's like building another depth, another room for you to go and explore. I'll add some high shelf this time. And to me that's a little bit too much high shelf, because it's masking that high triangle or whatever it was masking the frequencies just below it. So I like it more neutral, more flatter. So that was 40%. Let's try, say 10% high shelf tilt. See, I'd still prefer it with no shelf, but that's just me. Go back again. So the high click is plenty loud enough, and you still get to hear the string, what do you call it when you're bowing? You can still hear the bowing on those strings as they come in second. Yeah, so much more to look forward to, and just hearing all those things that sort of pop out and say, hey, we were here the whole time, but maybe you couldn't hear us. So that's the usual thing that I guess most reviewers will say, but I think this one's undeniable. I could probably just keep those other two amps there as a quick plug-in if anyone really wants to hear them.